Happy Sunday.
Hi.
So we're not in the car anymore. We are on land, or in my house. We were on
Yeah.
land, whatever. Anyway, as always, we're coming to you with our little Sunday night chat. And for those that are jumping on, say hi and where you're coming in from. Hi, Bill, Debbie, Leslie, Dana. Thank you for joining. And so before we start tonight's talk, by no means are Nancy and I relationship experts at all.
No.
We are not relationship professionals. We are not licensed relationship counselors. We just like sharing things that we've learned along the way. And
we really honestly just wanted to bring up some topics.
And we want to talk to you guys about it.
Because we're in experimental phase right now.
Yeah.
So
Boston in the house. What's up, Bri?
happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. So guys, if you feel like sharing this or liking or loving the video, please do. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you guys so much. So we're going to talk about relationships versus relationships. Yeah. Because, I think everyone at some point, it's not that we've been in a relationship. I just think that there's certain things that maybe we're not being present enough with, understanding about the relationship that we're in. And maybe there are some things that we can do to improve upon our current relationship or maybe a future one. So we have three little things that we wanted to go over tonight. And we want to hear from you guys. We want this to be a very interactive live tonight because type Y or yes in the chat box if you are currently in or have ever been in a relationship over 3 years. Because whether you were dating someone for a long time, that counts. If you're divorced, but you were together for a long time or currently married, these are all things, I've been in multiple relationships, so has Nancy. We learned from all of those. But why are yes in a chat box? If you have been, Leslie says yes, Michelle yes, Bill yes. Okay, great. Now, if you guys could also allow us into a little bit of your life, if you're on here live or on the replay. 14 years, love it. What is your longest relationship, whether you're currently in it or were in it, and how long was it? So Denise, 14 years, Bill, 30 years. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Chris. So for those that are just joining, just wanted to ask you guys first, have you been in a relationship over 3 years? Hi, Heather. So jealous of where you ate today. I love seed to sprout. It's amazing. Anyway, back on track. Enough about food. Have you ever been in a relationship for over 3 years, whether you are married or still married or are divorced now? And how long was your longest relationship? Michelle said 10 years. Leslie, 9 years. Hi, Gina. Joe, Debbie, 12 years. Good. Okay, so this is good because we have some interesting things to share with you guys. Hi, Annette, my love. Good to see you on here. Heather said longest was 18 years. Okay, good. This is really, really good stuff because, guys, I want you to be very present with tonight's Facebook Live because we want to hear from you guys because we want to learn from people. We've been together 9 months, but my longest relationship was 6 years, and your longest relationship was
5 years.
5 years. Kathleen, Jackie, love to see everybody that's jumping on here. This is great. Hi, Mary. Okay, so number one, what we're going to talk about with you guys, it's called the evolution of a relationship. Now, I'm going to turn it to Nancy because interestingly enough, where 40 years, that's amazing, Mary. 40 years, awesome. Melissa says 19 years, love it. Where we came up with the topic for tonight's live. Strangely enough, we were driving to Jersey to visit Nancy's sister, and we were listening to Amy Schumer's podcast, which if you haven't listened to it, it's very funny. We highly advise you to go watch it. But they were talking about relationships. They had this one guest on there, and they were just sharing some interesting things. We are pixelating. Hold on. I don't know why we're pixelating. We love you too, Melissa. All right, go ahead.
All right, so the whole reason why we wanted to talk about this today, and again, as much engagement as we can get from you guys, the better, because on the podcast they talked about, this probably like the third time this has come up in the last 2 months of just stuff I've been listening to, because they talked about this on Impact Theory as well with Tom Bilyeu and his wife. But there's a scientific study that they did, and they said if we were to revert to our reptilian brain, our very animalistic instincts, the average human relationship would probably only last 2.5 years. And they said the reason for that is because that's the amount of time it usually takes for someone to get pregnant, have a baby, and raise the baby to a certain point where it's kind of like, okay, move up and move along, bye. So it's just been really on my mind lately. And obviously because we like to really learn as much as we can about relationship stuff, but it's been on my mind that, okay, if we were just animals running around and that's how it was, every relationship, just plain and simple from a scientific standpoint, would only last about 2.5 years. So I think it's safe to say, right, that the relationship has to evolve in some way, shape, or form, okay? So after that 2.5-year mark, what kind of things start to happen and what kind of things need to start to happen in order for things to be able to work long term? So that's why we came up with the topic tonight, and we're like, oh, this would be kind of cool to like throw out there to people who've been in relationships for a long time. And we really wanted to talk about some of the scenarios and some of the issues that are common in relationships. And a lot of people think that their situation's different, like, oh, well, nobody else ever acts this way or nobody ever fights about this. And I really feel like there's so much out there that we all have in common and that comes up in relationships that's very common. So that's what we're kind of uncovering and talking about tonight.
Yeah, and I think that the one big thing is there's two things. We live in such a world now where social media is so present that you see all these couples taking pictures and everything looks great. Everything looks fine. The kids are happy. They're doing all these things, but that's what we see. But we actually don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. Now, that's not to say that a lot of the stuff that's out there is true. That's exactly how the life looks. But what we do is the natural thing that humans do, which is compare, like, look at their life. Their life is so amazing. They just bought a new house. They got a new car. And the kids are going to private school. And, and then we start comparing, and then we feel like shit about our relationship. So the other thing is this. If you think that you're alone with how you're feeling in your relationship, if you think that every relationship, and guys, the people that are on here live, type Y or yes as we go along with this, because people need to feel like they're not alone. So for those that have been in relationships for a long time, have there been arguments? Yes. Have there been disagreements? Yes. Have there been moments where you're not questioning the relationship, but you feel out of touch? You don't feel connected. The attraction might be going a different way. If you guys think that, you're the only couple that is not being intimate as often as they need to, or you don't hang out enough, or you don't have as many friends as you would like to, or all these other things, if you think you're alone, you're wrong. There is a traditional life cycle with relationships. Mm-hmm. And there are stages and phases. And what this woman was saying in this podcast is she was saying, I've been with my husband for 15 years. And, we have 2 children now, and I love him to death. But she goes, it's a different love. She goes, the reptilian brain, that part of you that when that person's away from you, you're in pain. You are like physically in pain because you miss them so much. is different when you're 5, 6, 7 years in, because your love does change. It doesn't mean that you love that person any less. It's just a different type of love because there are now circumstances involved. There's jobs, there's money, there's kids, there's responsibility, there's bills, there's all these things surrounding it. So people get upset because they feel like the relationship isn't going the right way because they don't feel the way they did 2.5 years in when we're in that courting phase or the honeymoon phase, as they call it.
And guess what? It's normal.
Yeah. Melissa says, marriage takes work and communication. Yes, the love evolves. So we have some really good stuff. So, what you guys need to understand, again, is that there is no perfect science to a relationship. But, we want to give you guys some scenarios because, obviously, I've been in a 6-year relationship. I've been in a 5-year relationship. I've been in a 2-year relationship. I've been in a 2.5-year relationship. I was in a lot of long-term relationships, and there was something to be taken from each of them. And you've been in multiple long-term relationships yourself. So, again, no relationship is going to be perfect. It is impossible. As human beings, biologically, the reptilian brain is that we are meant to breed. We are not monogamous creatures, but it's something that we can be monogamous if the relationship is worked on the right way. Because when you hear about infidelity and cheating and people falling out of love or they're just roommates now, all of these things that you hear, it's not about anything that person or that couple is doing wrong. It's just maybe those action steps and those things that can be done throughout the relationship that can forge and continue to build on the foundation of what you guys had in the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, some of it, in my opinion, could be stuff that they're doing wrong,
No, I mean, yes.
But, yeah. So we're going to go over a couple scenarios, and you guys can type, again, like if you want to type Y or yes or whatever in the chat box, you can. But how many of you have dealt with scenario number 1, okay, which is whenever you come home from work and it's almost like you're interacting separately, okay? You're kind of going off, you're eating a snack from the fridge, you're turning on the TV, and you're just not paying each other enough attention or the attention that you should. That's my scenario number 1 because I feel like so often I hear this, and a lot of times with couples that have kids or, who are married, that they just literally come home and they just want to disconnect from everything. And they've had a long day at work and they're not paying their significant other enough attention. And that's what it comes down to. Yeah.
So what, why are yes in the chat box? How many of you are in a relationship or have been in a relationship where, you're working here, they're working there, you go to pick up the kids, you come home, he comes home, cooking dinner, you eat, and just, it's just always like this. Everyone's going in their own directions. Everyone has, it feels like I'm hitting you, but I'm not. Everyone is going in their own opposite directions because, again, this is normal. And that's why we always feel completely blessed because we run our businesses from home. But, we were both in relationships where that was our life. She would go to her job, I would go to my job, the person we were with went to their job. So that is normal. So, the communicating stops, you start growing apart. So what can you do? What can you do if this is you, if this is your life, if this is your relationship, what can you do to break this pattern where you don't feel like you're just coming home and making dinner and it's just Groundhog's Day every single day? So what's number 1?
So, yeah, and if you guys can say, comment anything, like additional information?
Yeah,
That'd be
like we're going to
awesome.
give you what we've come up with, but what are some things that you guys have done to kind of break the patterns of this?
So some things that we came up with scenario number one, things that could help counter this, is I put on here, stop testing.
So explain to them what that means.
So I put this quote a while ago on my profile, actually, because I loved it so much. It said, we're not in school, so stop testing each other, okay? For example, I go and I get my hair done and it looks so great and I'm so happy with it because I want to look pretty. I come home and I say, well, maybe
Notice
he'll
anything?
notice. Maybe he'll notice I'm testing him, and I put it out there and I basically set myself up for potential disappointment, right?
Mm.
So it creates that opening for resentment, for anger, for frustration. Like you're basically testing that person. So in that scenario, stop testing the person and how about we start communicating?
Mm.
So instead of saying, whatever, do you notice anything different? Say, hey, I just got my hair done, got a new color. Like, do you like it? Just be very upfront with them because, again, okay, I get it. We get tired. We have long days. Things happen. But instead of setting yourself up for potential disappointment, okay, there is a 1% chance that they're going to notice and they're going to say, oh, you look fantastic. But if it doesn't happen, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to create more resentment and frustration, and it's only going to dig scenario one even deeper into that pit of frustration. So solution for that, stop testing and maybe start communicating a little bit. That's mine.
Yeah, no, I think, we're always looking for, sometimes we get into the throes of the relationship. We're almost like looking to pick a fight. Did you do this? Did
Yeah.
you do that? Did you, instead of testing, everyone is always doing their best. Now, men and women are very, very different. And it is very clear, women are very present to a lot of things and are clear and understanding. And sometimes, men as the animalistic creatures that we are, we get consumed with ourselves. We don't pay attention. We forget things all the time. We have a one-track mind. We sometimes have difficulties multitasking. It was really interesting. Last night, we were playing the dating game last night.
Oh, like the newlywed game.
We were playing the newlywed
our
game.
version of, yeah.
So friends of ours were there, Kayla and Adrian, and they met in college years ago. So we asked, we asked Kayla to tell the story of how her and Adrian met. And the story of how they met for her took about 17 minutes, and his story took 3. So if you've ever listened to Tony Robbins, the woman will always give the Meadow report. They do like she was telling us the description of the room, how many seats apart they were, exactly what he was wearing. And his story was, when I got in the room, I was 10 minutes late because I'm always late. I looked around for the hottest girl, and that was her. And I said, she's hot, I need to talk to her. That was his story. But hers was completely different. So what I'm trying to get at is openly communicating, not looking to force your partner, the husband or the wife, into a situation where they're going to be forced to defend themselves because, they let's see if they notice this time. 'Cause the last time they didn't, or, hey, did you forget to take out the garbage again? I saw the can still sitting by the side of the house. When you can simply say, hey, sweetheart, I'm sure you probably had a long day. When you get a chance, before you come upstairs, can you take the garbage down to the side? It's all about how you word it, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So scenario number 2, and this is,
I got it.
okay, scenario number 2.
Scenario number 2 is,
So we are so tired, and type Y or yes in the chat box if this has ever been you or it currently is you. You are so tired after work, sex becomes non-existent. You're busy with the kids all day, you're at work all day, you're at work all day. The last thing that you can think about is being intimate, having sex with your partner. So Y or yes in the chat box if that has ever been you in that relationship, because in the beginning, those physicalities and that aspect of the relationship they're at all-time highs. But just like anything, and I was taking one of Susan Sly's courses called Organize Your Life, and she even went as deep as saying, if you're going to get organized in every aspect of your life, get organized with your sex. Plan it out. Like sometimes when you're in your relationship and you got kids and you got busy schedules, you got to put on that calendar, we're having sex on Tuesday night. It's the truth, because like a week goes by, 2 weeks goes by, a month goes by, 3 months goes by, and they talk about all the time, if you don't use it, you lose it.
100% agree.
You have to, we're going to get into this a little bit later, but in every relationship, intimacy and physical touch from each other is really, really important. And are there nights where you're tired? Yes. Are there nights where you don't feel like it? Yes. But there's a way to make sure that you keep that bond and that connection intimately going for the duration of your relationship.
Yeah.
Do you have something to say about that?
No, I think it's pretty cut and dry.
You don't want to touch that one? Okay. So scenario number 3. So obviously I'm a father. Nancy is not a father or a mother yet. But scenario number 3, kids become the excuse for everything. Jenny's got soccer. Stevie has baseball. They have cheerleading. They have this. They have that.
Yeah. So on that one, we were just talking about, like, again, common problems that most people have. And it's just like, I can't even imagine, right? Like, your life is already filled up by work, but then you have kids on top of that and all the busy stuff that entails, and so many people. And this just goes back to, like, we talk a lot about self-love and self-care and things like that. So many people that I've talked to literally have shifted the focus completely from their self and what they want and what they love and what makes them happy onto their kids. It's like, well, now my purpose is to do everything for this little thing,
Yeah.
And they're losing their self. And not only in losing their self, they're also losing the relationship. They're losing the connection that they had with the person who they had the children with. So that's scenario number 3. And I just think, you can't lose yourself. You've got to remember, like, who you are as a person and who you were before you even had kids, and why you're together in the first place.
So I want to talk about something really quickly that might be a sore subject for some people, but it needs to be talked about. And what Nancy just said, about losing yourself, losing your identity. The one thing that I see a lot, and being in the health and wellness industry, is that men and women, as they become parents, stop taking care of themselves. You put all your time, your focus, and your energy on your kids, that you put yourself last when you should be putting yourself first. I'm very grateful, my parents are not together anymore, but they're both in healthy relationships. But what I can give them so much credit for is that, first and foremost, my parents taught me from a very early age the importance of being healthy and being active. My mom cooked very healthy meals. My father was very physically active in the gym, had us active in sports, and that was ingrained in me. And I'm doing the same thing with my son. And I see so many people my age, younger, older, that a lot of how they're feeling is emotionally, how they're feeling in their relationship towards their partner, towards their kids, towards their family, is because how they really feel about themselves. I'm fat, I'm overweight, I don't fit into my clothes anymore. I don't want to go to the beach because, God forbid, I don't want to take my shirt off. I don't want to put a bathing suit on. I don't even want to go to a pool. And what I want to say to you guys is that it does take dedication. to taking care of yourself. But let me ask you this. Is there a day that you take off of being a parent where you say, you know what? I'm not going to be a dad today. I'm just going to take a day off. I'll pick it up tomorrow. I say the same thing to myself about the gym or eating healthy. I'm not going to say, you know what? I'm just going to take this week off of eating well. I'm just going to eat crap for the next week and we'll pick it up next week. The way that you show up every day, you should be showing that way up in every aspect of your life. If you're going to be showing up, being present for your kids and being helpful to your kids and loving for your kids, you should be doing that same thing for yourself. So that may require you to get up a little bit earlier. Or you know what? Cooking a little bit more often and going out to dinner less and ordering in less. Because it is so true. I remember watching a Tony Robbins thing with Nancy. Remember the one couple that stood up? Mm-hmm. And the husband admitted, I am not attracted to her anymore. She's gained 80 pounds since we've been together. And I love her, but I'm just not physically attracted to her. And she knew it. She knew it. Because there was so much tension in their relationship because she knew that she was losing him because she was losing herself. You want to say something?
I do. It's really funny because, this is like but like I was just reading Brendon Burchard's Habits of Success, and the first tip that he gives for habits of successful people is to get healthy. It said, if you do nothing after reading this book, if the one thing you do is just plain get healthy, it will change so many things in your life. And just a touch, for those of you on here who don't know me or anything, but like a few years ago, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and I had been so stressed. I had started to lose myself, right? I was so caught up in work. I was stressed out. I had gained like 15 pounds. I went from like a size 2 to like a size, I was like borderline like size 8 or 9. And like, I felt so fucking awful. Like I was bloated. I felt disgusting. I didn't feel attractive. I looked in the mirror and I was like, I don't like what I see. I felt puffy everywhere. I wasn't taking care of myself. And luckily I was able to figure out that I also had hyperthyroidism on top of that. So I was able to get medication and things started to kind of iron out a little bit. And I really threw into focusing on myself and taking care of myself and eating better and, having great nutrition. And it has done so much. Energy levels change. The way you feel about yourself it projects onto other people. When I feel hot and I feel great, I feel awesome and I want to be around people and I want to share love and things like that. But it's like when you feel so crappy and so shitty about yourself, what do you expect is going to happen? And it really does affect so many aspects of your life. And, we're talking about relationships right now, but it's probably such a common thing. And it's more common in the US, than anywhere else, but it's very common for people to lose themselves.
Just stop with the excuses. Like, you're not the only busy person. I'm sorry. Stop with the fucking excuses. It's not difficult to be healthy and to be active, but you do. Here's the thing. What's important to you is something that you always make time for. If something is important for our kids, they want to go to a birthday party, they want to go to a vacation, they want to do something, it's important to them, you're going to make sure that happens. So why don't you do that for you? I want to live as long as possible. And there was a stat that they said the percentage of kids nowadays that aren't living as long as their parents is actually on the rise. Because more and more people are becoming more and more unhealthy. And if you don't have your health, you have absolutely nothing. You can have all the money in the world. If you don't have your health, you are broke. Because you can't enjoy this life unless you're healthy.
Well, and I just like, sorry, I don't want to tag in here, but like it was incredibly emotional for me because I recently went to an event, for nutritional, with Isogenics and everything. And I saw multiple people on there that had lost over 100 pounds and literally crying on stage because
They got their
they're
life back.
free. Like their life is back. They can show up for their kids. They can have energy to like play with their kids. And it's like how they were for 10 plus years before then. And then they decided it was the point of no return. They needed to make a change. I mean, the one guy who won the Ice Body Challenge,
Wow.
he lost, okay, again, over 100 pounds.
107 pounds.
He did it for his kids.
Yep.
His kids actually had asked a friend, parents
Please
to sign
get
him
my
up
dad on Isogenics.
because he needed to lose weight and they were worried about his health. He lost all that weight. Then he was able to run around with his kids, be there for his kids. It's so incredibly inspirational. But yeah, it's
No, guys, life is so short that we truly, just type Y or yes in the chat box. Whether you're on here live or on the replay, if you truly feel that life is as precious as you really think it is, because it's something that we truly often take advantage of, like the beauty that's all around us. I mean, we were at Nancy's sister's community garden today with her boyfriend, and they had a little plot there, and we were watching bees pollinate flowers. And I hate insects. I hate bugs. I hate bees. And we were taking, and they were like, we were minding our business, they were minding their business, and just seeing the beauty of nature it's just, I just appreciate life so much more because it is that amazing, and it could be amazing for everyone if we just choose to put on those lenses that we all have. We all have the same lenses sitting by our nightstand where we can look through life and see all the greatness and all the love and the abundance and all the wonderful things that are out there. So we wanted to wrap this up with an exercise that you can do with your loved ones, your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your fiance, your husband, your wife. And we highly advise you guys to read this book. Nancy and I have both read it. And Nancy's going to go over the aspects of this exercise, how it's important, and how you can apply it to your relationship to strengthen it. And Debbie says, Scott, I recently had a heart attack last Sunday. 2 stents put in. I never thought this could happen to me. Life is so incredibly more important. Never take yourself for granted. Debbie, absolutely. And Nancy and I, obviously, you're in our thoughts and prayers every night to continue to heal and get stronger. So thank you for sharing that. And, we're happy you're still here with us. And this is a new beginning for you. And just know that it's going to be the best one yet. So thank you for commenting and being a part of this. So Nancy, what's the exercise and what's the book that they should read?
All right. So again, thank you for joining us for tonight because we're doing obviously a little learning, training, sharing what we've learned. Obviously, again, this is experimental, but one book that is amazing that we think might help, and that we're going to kind of reread together is 5 Love Languages. I'm not sure. Do we know who that's the author of that? We can check that out.
Gary Chapman.
Gary Chapman. Yes. So if you have not read this book,
5 Love
fantastic
Languages.
book. So why do we recommend this book? Because it is so incredibly important. And we're not all the same. Scott's not the same person as me. I'm not the same person as Scott. I have different things that fill up my love tank, and same thing with Scott. So the 5 Languages of Love is all about how, each person has about 2 different things that they really focus on to help fill up their love tank and make them happy and satisfied in a relationship. So obviously earlier in this live, we talked about some things that you can do. It all comes down to great communication and, coming down to really not testing each other and respecting each other and all that good stuff. But when we talk about the 5 languages love, it's a really cool way to really strengthen your relationship. So what are the 5 languages of love? Number 1 is words of affirmation. So what is that, Scott?
So, for me, that's actually one of my love languages. I appreciate when someone tells me how much they love me and how much they appreciate me. It's everyone has something different that fills their love tank. So this is a great exercise to practice with your partner. Sit down, read the book first. Both of you should read it, but one of you should read it. And sit down with your partner after they read this book and ask them, what are their love languages? All right, so number 1, words of affirmation. Number 2 is physical touch. Every guy is going to say physical touch. It says it in the book. Physical touch is obviously one of mine. Every man is physical touch, but a lot of women are physical touch as well. So what's physical touch? It's not just sex. It could be holding hands walking down the street. Sitting here, she likes when I put my arm around her. Just touching. It doesn't physical touch. I love physical touch too. I love, when someone just puts their, just feeling the person that you're with in any way, shape, or form is obviously that's one of my love languages. Number 3 is receiving gifts. And Nancy does like receiving gifts too. And this could be flowers, but here's the thing. We were actually talking about this morning, that receiving gifts, it doesn't have to be a physically bought gift. It could be at CVS today, me buying the kitty litter and her prescription, and paying for something. So, right?
It was a great gift.
Yeah, no, but I mean, so receiving gifts or stuff like that, or it doesn't have to be something you have to buy. It could be you
making something,
a card, leaving a little sticky note. We have these things in the shower called love notes, where one day, they're great. She got them for me for Valentine's Day. They're waterproof sticky notes with waterproof pencils that you can write little notes and stick them on in the shower. And one day, I just wrote, I love Nancy and Eva Evans, and put it on there so when she got in the shower, she would see it. So, doing stuff like that, receiving gifts is somebody's love language. Number 4 is quality time. I love quality time. Nancy loves quality time. And this is something that we practice every single day, where we work out in the morning and we take a nice 20-minute walk to get our coffee. We talk the entire way. We grab our coffees and we take a 20-minute walk back. Do you want to talk about any of these?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm going to add in my thoughts at the end.
And number 5 is acts of service. Now, this is something that I also do. This is just being a gentleman. Just saying, hey, Nancy, is there anything I can do to help out in the morning? So, acts of service can be if we're going on vacation and we're going to the airport, some bags are packed. That can be me taking the initiative and taking the bags to the car and loading them without her asking, or thinking ahead and making a dinner reservation for Sunday night. So not only does that satisfy, obviously maybe receiving a gift of going out to dinner, but quality time, but acts of service saying, hey, don't make any plans on Sunday. I made a reservation for us. So, but again, everyone has specific love languages where it fills their love tank, because here's the thing. Both people need their love tanks filled. So once you know your love tank, automatically you're going to do things that you think would fill that person's love tank, but it's really filling yours. So you need to be very clear with your partner of what their love language is, So you make sure that you're filling their love tank because they will in turn fill yours.
Yeah, and the fun thing about this, so obviously we all appreciate these things, but there's usually two of them that really make us feel loved.
Yes.
Okay, I know someone specifically who acts of service when someone else does something where they don't have to ask and they come home and it's like, oh, this is done. That is love to them, right? So, quick little quiz for Scott. So, if you had to pick two, what do you think are my love languages? Or
quality time and physical touch.
No, I'm just kidding. Of course, I love all of these. But mine are actually physical touch. So that just makes me personally feel loved, you know. And then the other one is receiving gifts. So for some reason, I just, you know, it's great. And again, it could be something you made. It could be something that you did. But that thoughtfulness and taking time out of your day to go, you know what, I think this is something you really like is really
and it's sometimes it's as little as like, I know she likes certain things. Like when I go to the market, like when I went to
my seltzer.
Yeah, I went to the market the other day, and we just had to pick up a couple things. But I know that she loves LaCroix seltzer. I know that she loves So Delicious coconut yogurt. I know she loves dark chocolate. I know she loves granola. I know there's certain things that she really loves. So instead of me going in there and grabbing the few things that we needed, I came back with some additional things, and I'm always thinking of her.
Yeah, which is so appreciated. So thank you.
Yeah. So guys, listen, I know we talked about a lot tonight. I knew this was going to be a long live.
Oh man, I don't feel like that one.
So for those that have stayed on with us, that's great. We really appreciate you. For those that are on the replay, thank you so much. But again, read the 5 love languages. Take this test with your partner. No relationship. Thank you, Leslie. No relationship is going to be perfect, but every relationship has to be worked on. You either grow together or you grow apart. And again, if you're not happy, talk about it with your partner. Go to therapy. Communicate.
Can I throw in? Because I found this other note that we wrote down in the car. But like some of the most common things that cause resentment and cause people to start to like stop talking to each other and stuff. I mean, I wrote a bunch down, but these again are common problems, right? These are things that we're kind of looking at like, okay, this is normal. They can all be fixed. Okay, like how can we get ahead of this and how can we be prepared? But a few of them are like, okay, no sex, so no physical touch, not helping each other enough. So looking up and looking around and realizing that you can help each other. No gifts, no time off, money issues, no vacation, selfishness, no attention, locked in,
I feel
like
locked
feeling
into
like
this.
You're locked in, too focused on kids or job, lazy, stop taking care of themselves. And I'm going to go back again, it's selfishness. So
these are some things that are present in every relationship, but the more aware you are of what's going on and what can be done to improve. I mean, Nancy and I are just so present in our relationship. Like, it was funny. We were playing this dating game, and it was fun because we've been together for 9 months, and we were playing against her sister and Rob, who've been together for 2.5 years, and Adrian and Kayla, who've been together for like 7 years. And we beat Kayla and Adrian. We did.
They won the whole game.
No.
They won the whole game. Yeah, they did.
No, we beat them, and then we lost to Robin. But we know so much about each other because we really pay attention to each other a lot. And the more time, even though like when kids are involved, like there's always going to be external things that get involved, but you just need to make that time to communicate and talk and be together.
Yeah, and I was telling Scott, this is part of our conversation why we wanted to do this and stuff. It's, I kind of had a cynical approach to marriage. Whenever we had started dating, we went on our first date. Actually, it was in August, or no. Yeah, it was this month. So our first actual date was in August, and I really had mentioned during the date, we just got on this philosophical topic. And, I said, well, why do people even get married anymore? And Scott painted this picture of like teamwork and being together and growing together and having respect for each other. And it was all these things, filling each other's love tank, being a unit, working on it and just growing. And I looked at him and I was like, oh my God, I think I want to get married now. I'm just like, it's like life. That totally changed for me because I kind of had an approach where it's like, well, why would you ever want to be locked into something and be forced to be with someone and whatever? And it's like, we're down this journey and it's so fun to be able to, talk to Scott and be so open about relationships because, we both been through some pretty long, serious relationships and things that have been so great and things that might have been not so great. But it's also to be on this journey and be so open about it and learn as much as we possibly can from other people or from, reading sources, things like that to help make it the strongest relationship that it can be. Because again, like everyone faces similar problems. Everyone gets into similar ruts. Everyone is busy. Everyone gets lazy. Everyone stops taking care of themselves at some point. Self-care doesn't become as important and you get caught up in life. And it's like, what can we do to make relationships last longer, be stronger? How can we grow together? How can we evolve? Because relationships don't all have to be relationships.
Exactly. I'm going to stop on that note because she just dropped the mic. So, guys, thank you again for spending your evening with us. We love you all so much. Just want to say hi to Susan, Ken, Erica, Jen, Jason, and Ellen, who recently just joined. Annette, we love you too. And again, if you're on the replay, thank you for checking this out. Leave your comments below. If there's any specific topics you would love us to cover, let us know. We're always listening to podcasts to talk more, to obviously give back to all you guys. And Annette says it's amazing after divorce, and you open your heart to do it again. Thank you. And it's the truth. I've been divorced twice, but I believe in marriage. I believe that there is someone out there for everyone. You just gotta keep your eyes, your heart, and your mind open, and they will appear. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. We love you so much. Have a great Sunday, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Good night.